The song Pomp and Circumstance that you humans all hear at graduations or register depending on your level of hungoverage and or you mistimed your shroomables and are now checking out the crap of motorboards in the commencement ceremony and they look like pixel art and you're starting to wonder if everybody can tell that you're fucked up and tripping balls. P.S. They can. It's fine. No one wants to be there anyway. It's hot and it's too early. Is the first of a series of 6 marches by Edward Elgar. The last one was finished after he died, which is why you always leave a note. That is your first advice, graduates. Listen up. Elgar said of his marches that the title Pomp and Circumstance was, quote, merely a generic name. And on that, fuck, it must be nice to afford such expensive wordage. Pomp and circumstance in this economy? My, how the other half lives. The term pomp and circumstance comes from Shakespeare. What doesn't? Act 3, Scene 3 of Othello, quote, farewell the neighing steed and the shrill trump, the spirit-stirring drum, the ear-piercing fife, the royal banner and all quality, pride, pomp, and circumstance of glorious war. And though it seems the world could do without any more neighing, war, and shrill trump, the marches themselves was set to a motto that Elgar chose to keep his shit moving based on a poem by Lord de Tabley, The March of Glory. Elgar wished his marches to follow the general vibe of, quote, a proud music that draws men on to die, madly upon the spears in martial ecstasy, a measure that sets heaven in all their veins and iron in all their hands, which I gotta be honest, is metal as fuck. Think about that the next time your drunk uncle is screaming da 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 at the family function post-graduation. But it seems fitting these days to march the youth out of the halls of education to a song that was written to inspire battle madness. Because have you seen the world these days? So, humans, people, students, hotties, naughties, dorks, dweebs, nerds, freaks, geeks, jocks, incels, edgelords, floaters, hybrids, coders, band kids, theater kids, club kids, travel ballers, gym rats, gym wearers, sporters of athleisure, noobs, speedrunners, goodettes, emos, goth, punks, hipsters, brains, normals, looks, maxers, e-kids, not you, Travis, and everyone else not listed because they're just not into labels. Graduates of the class of 2026. Thank you for having me here, opening your doors, letting a bird fly in to be among you for this once or twice in a lifetime moment, depending on your semester schedules and GPAs. But like, honestly, I don't know if a bird's advice is even useful in a human world with easy-to-remember bits of wisdoms already given to you from the immortal Chicago Tribune column, advice like youth probably just wasted on the young, by my hero Mary Schmich, quote, keep your old love letters, throw away your old bank statements. Read the directions even if you don't follow them. Or be kind to your knees, you'll miss them when they're gone. Or when super cassettes say, be gay, do drugs, hail Satan. I'm just a bird. I got nothing, but thank you for having me. A commencement speech is a uniquely human experience. The rest of us in the animal kingdom don't bother with new cars, graduation funds, block parties, congrats balloons, catering. You're lucky if you even get a card, let alone money. Us birds just kick you out of the nest when you're old enough to fly. Happy graduation, chump! The first lesson is gravity. Figure it out or die. The first real commencement speech at Harvard didn't happen until 1642. But back in those days, it wasn't about the speaker that school figured would inspire the kids these days. It was the kids themselves them days. The graduates would give disputations, which is a formal academic debate on philosophy. How you like that, Tiffany? Were you going to start your speech with a Webster's dictionary definition? Sack up and try a formal disputation on how we got to stop saying irregardless of what Webster's dictionary says. They would even do it in an ancient language to prove proficiency. Anthony Grafton, who's a professor of intellectual history at Princeton University, says the commencement speech is, quote, a very old custom And it goes with the idea that oratory was one of the central things that students were learning and one of the central skills of the university. And given that we're living in a post-Chaktua timeline, I'd say oratory is a tradition you humans ought to get back after. And no, Travis, that's not what oratory means. You're lucky you're graduating at all. Spit out that fucking gum. Apparently, listening to the rich kids learn words good was a hit, though. And so much so that the commencement ceremonies were open to the public, who would come into what was considered, quote, the great gala day of the colony, the province, the state, not merely the alumni, but the populace. Samuel Eliot Morrison's 1935 text, The Founding of Harvard College, hyped up the early commencement ceremony like this. The commencers, now having proved their proficiency in 3 learned tongues, and the audience being suitably impressed and exceedingly fatigued, the assembly adjourns at 11 o'clock for dinner, which, like, I'm impressed. Not like you made it through watching seniors biff their way through Latin, which is a feat in of itself. Have you ever talked to a graduate student? You got to see a chiropractor after the amount of aggressive head nodding you have to do just to keep it moving along. But mostly because, like, I'm eating post 11 p.m. The only time I'm doing that is when I'm in need of a 2 a.m. burrito to bring me back to life after the evening's drinkstivities. Eventually, like cursive handwriting and the high C ecto cooler, the oratory badge stops circulating, and to fill the gap in time, because we've got the hall until 11 p.m. apparently, the guest speaker was allowed and added to the program, and it became all the rage. Ketanji Brown Jackson said, quote, be intentional about the words you use, and if you figure out a way to make your points in different ways, do so. It will increase your chance of persuading the person you want to persuade. And ultimately, the more you can persuade people, the more of a meaningful difference you can make. Kendrick Lamar said, quote, independent thinkers, that's nothing more valuable than that. David Foster Wallace said, quote, and I submit, this is what the real no bullshit value of your liberal arts degree is supposed to be about. How to keep from going through your comfortable, prosperous, respectable adult life, dead, unconscious, a slave to your head, and to your natural default setting of being uniquely, completely, imperially alone day in and day out. And Robert De Niro once told Tisch graduates in 2015, you made it, you're fucked. Because in the end, it doesn't matter who's saying it, being celebrity, teacher, or that one time the entrepreneur Chris Pan did a magic trick and tried to get OSU into Bitcoin after writing his speech, quote, on ayahuasca. Now it's all about giving advice to the future. But I'm just a bird. I have no advice for humanity. You're on your own. Mostly we of the avian community need you to tone it down on the hot chicken and buffalo wings. What does seem to be happening here and now in the year of your 2026 is students this graduation season booing their commencement speakers trying to sell them on ChatGPT and AI. Scott Borchetta told the students of MTSU that, quote, AI is rewriting production as we sit here, deal with it, end quote. Former Google CEO Mary Schmich told the University of Arizona, quote, last December, Time magazine selected its Person of the Year in 2025. This time it was the Architects of Artificial Intelligence. And after boos louder than Trump at a Knicks game, he smiled and he said, interesting. Tavistock Development Company's Gloria Caulfield told the University of Central Florida that, quote, AI technologies are in the palm of our hands. And to the boos, she said, I love it, passion, let's go. The graduates, it seems, are tired of others out of touch or shilling for a future they want, telling them what is good advice as they march out, pomp and circumstantially, thrown into the nest, into the war that is the world. So I guess my advice to the graduates of 2026 is this. Start doing the speeches yourselves. Grab the mic and start disputating like your human alumni did back in the day when commencements were something you showed off for, to prove that oratory was one of the central things that students were learning and one of the central skills of the university, regardless of whether you're in the Ivy, Bush, or even just because you're good at Rocket League. Humans You better speak up before Siri and Alexa are your guest speakers, lifting the burden of advice for the future off your shoulders as a species, and then afterwards asking if you want to turn on your Amazon alerts and reminding you how much time is left on your timer. Humans, students, graduates. In the words of perhaps your greatest commencement speaker, Never Given, by former Chicago Tribune writer, ragtime pianist, and the last writer of the Brenda Starr comic strip, Mary Schmich, falsely attributed to Kurt Vonnegut due to an email chain, making her possibly the first ever inadvertent internet ghostwriter, but made famous by the Baz Luhrmann track Everyone's Free to Wear Sunscreen, featuring the remixed choral arrangement of Everybody's Free to Feel Good by Rosala, by the late, great Quindon Tarver. Be careful whose advice you buy. Don't be reckless with other people's hearts. Don't put up with people who are reckless with yours. Stretch, floss, dance. Read the directions, even if you don't follow them. And do one thing every day that scares you. Also, fuck AI, be gay, do drugs, and don't be a dick. I love you. Good night.
Nailed it.